can maybe help us through this whole thing of, or the journey of developing a food product in South Africa. Is it a tedious process? What is involved in all the steps without giving away all your intellectual property? But how does it work in the, including law factors, health factors, and all of that?
Okay, this is going to be a long answer because it is quite a bit of a process. But I like to break it down into 7 steps. And the first step being, the innovative part, where you brainstorm and you create a lot of innovative ideas that you then take and downscale it to a few more practical choices, maybe, of products. After that, the selected list of products would be fine-tuned even more to ensure that the new products would fit into the mission and the vision of the business. The third step is to formulate a detailed product brief, and the aim of that is really to describe the product in a lot of details. So this is where you start creating information in terms of what are the unique selling points of the product, how will it be merchandised, will it be in the fridge, in the freezer, or on the supermarket shelf? Are you planning to sell it at farmers markets? Just a few practical points to be able to understand really what it is that needs to be developed. The fourth step is, I think, the step that you were really referring to, and that's where you kind of I kind of do a technical assessment and look at the scientific research behind the product. What's it made up of? What are the possible risks identified with the product, and how can you stick to the product brief while at the same time having a safe product manufactured? And that's also where the legislation comes in. You need to be sure that you're staying within the framework of regulations, and there are many. So that was the fourth step. And the fifth step is the fun step, because that's when we start playing. That's where we have our scales and our testing instruments, and we test concepts. We make recipes, and the focus during that step is really to be able to repeat what you're doing. So we monitor, we document a lot. We make sure that every little bit is detailed in order to understand when we come to larger scale production and what it is exactly that needs to happen. During the small scale testing step, the idea is, on the one hand, to create a rough plan of what you want to do, but also to provide prototypes for the customer, for the client to test. We want them to taste it. We want them to give it out to consumers to test, to have proper feedback in terms of, are we really satisfying a need in the market? So that's the fifth step that I spoke about now. If we are happy with development in a lab or a kitchen style setup, the sixth step would be to move on to factory trials. And that is where this recipe is taken to a larger scale. There's normally a few upscale steps. We don't just run into a huge production run. We scale it up a little bit, maybe start with 500 units or so, and then scale it up until you get to a proper production run. It's during the sixth step that the shelf life testing is also done, and other tests like microbial testing to also again confirm that the product is safe for consumption. And I think that more or less sums it up. The final step would be to look at the graphic design of the product and also the legal compliance of the packaging and the design and the messages that are conveyed on on the pack. And also, you know, in today's technological age, people want to also market the product on social media. They've got websites, and you also need to be sure that whatever is communicated on those platforms also fall within the limits of the legislation, South African food legislation.